Hey guys, tonight we're leaving the comfort of the modern world behind and sailing back to the Golden Age of Piracy. So, dim the lights, get comfortable, and let the gentle rhythm of the sea carry you into tonight's story. Imagine it is the year 1717. The Caribbean Sea stretches endlessly before you, glowing beneath the morning sun. A wooden ship rocks gently on the waves, its tall sails filled with warm tropical wind. It looks peaceful from a distance, but life aboard this vessel is anything but easy. You are not a fearless pirate captain with a chest full of gold. You are the newest member of the crew. Your clothes are plain, your hands are clean, for now, and you have no idea what the coming days will demand of you. The first thing you notice is the smell. Salt water mixes with tar, damp wood, smoke, and the scent of dozens of sailors living together in a very small space. There is no fresh air below deck, and no comfortable bed waiting for you. Instead, a simple hammock hangs between rough wooden beams. Hollywood often shows pirates chasing treasure every day, but history tells a quieter story. Most pirates spent far more time sailing than fighting. Long days passed with nothing on the horizon except blue water and drifting clouds. The greatest challenge was often boredom, broken only by hard work and changing weather. Many pirates had once been ordinary sailors. Some escaped cruel captains in the Royal Navy or merchant ships. Others hoped piracy would bring greater freedom, even though it came with enormous risks. For many, life as a pirate seemed better than endless punishment and poor pay. As the ship continues across the calm sea, you realize there is no turning back. The crew has accepted you, but now you must prove yourself. Every rope, every sail, and every wave will become part of your new life. The adventure has begun, not with the roar of cannons or the sparkle of buried treasure, but with the slow, steady rhythm of the endless ocean. The first full morning at sea begins before the sun rises above the horizon. There are no clocks, no bells, and certainly no chance to sleep in. You wake to the sound of wooden boards creaking beneath your hammock and the steady splash of waves against the ship's hull. The air feels cool, but it will not stay that way for long. Soon, the Caribbean sun will turn the deck into a warm wooden floor beneath your bare feet. Before breakfast, everyone has work to do. Buckets of seawater are thrown across the deck while sailors scrub away dirt, fish scales, and dried salt. A clean deck is safer, and safety matters when the sea can become dangerous without warning. Breakfast is simple and forgettable. A piece of hardtack, baked months ago until it became as hard as stone, is placed into your hand. Alongside it comes a small serving of salted pork. Fresh food disappeared days ago, and every drop of drinking water must last until the next safe harbor. As daylight spreads across the ocean, every member of the crew begins another ordinary day. Some climb the tall masts to adjust the sails. Others inspect ropes worn by wind and salt. By the third day, your hands no longer feel like they belong to the person who stepped aboard. Thick ropes have rubbed your palms raw, and tiny cuts sting whenever salty water touches them. No one complains. Every pirate carries the same marks, and they wear them almost like badges of experience. The ship never seems to stop moving. Even when the sea looks calm, the deck rises and falls beneath your feet. Walking in a straight line becomes a skill you slowly learn. At first, you stumble into barrels and railings, earning a few quiet laughs from older sailors. Before long, your body begins to move with the waves instead of fighting them. The crew is always busy. One sailor patches a torn sail with heavy thread. Another checks the cannon ropes. Two men polish muskets to keep rust away. Everything on board needs constant care because salt water quietly damages almost everything it touches. The captain says very little today. Instead, experienced pirates teach you simple lessons. Never leave a rope loose. Never waste fresh water. Always keep your knife close. Small mistakes can become deadly when a storm suddenly appears or an enemy ship comes into view. Around midday, dolphins race beside the ship for a few moments before disappearing beneath the blue water. Even the oldest pirates pause to watch. It is a brief reminder that the sea is filled with beauty as well as danger. As night arrives, the wind grows softer. Above you, thousands of stars shine brighter than you have ever seen from land. Without city lights, the sky seems endless. Somewhere in that blanket of stars, the navigator quietly finds the course that will guide the ship through another peaceful night. For now, there are no battles, no treasure, and no glory, only the endless rhythm of the ocean and another quiet day in the life of a pirate. The fourth morning feels strangely familiar. You no longer wake in confusion when the ship gently rocks beneath your hammock. Instead, your body has begun to accept the endless motion of the sea. What once felt unusual is slowly becoming ordinary. After a quick breakfast, you are assigned to help with the sails. The canvas is far heavier than it looks from a distance. Every pull requires strength and careful timing. If the wind changes suddenly, the great sheets can snap with enough force to knock a sailor off his feet. An older pirate patiently shows you how to tie several important knots. Each one has a different purpose. One secures a rope during calm weather, while another can be untied quickly in an emergency. These simple knots may one day save the ship, or your life. The afternoon passes quietly. There are no enemy sails on the horizon, only endless blue water meeting an equally endless blue sky. Flying fish leap across the waves, and seabirds circle high above, searching for an easy meal. You begin to understand that patience is one of a pirate's greatest skills. Days, and sometimes even weeks, could pass without spotting another ship. During those long stretches, the crew repaired equipment, practiced their duties, and waited for fortune to change. As the sun slowly sinks toward the horizon, the sea turns golden. Conversations become softer. Some sailors tell old stories about distant ports, while others simply enjoy the peaceful silence. The ocean has a way of making even the loudest men grow quiet. When darkness finally settles over the ship, lanterns cast a warm glow across the deck. Above them, countless stars fill the night sky. You climb back into your hammock, tired from honest work rather than battle, and fall asleep to the gentle sound of waves brushing against the wooden hull, wondering what tomorrow's tide might bring. By the fifth day, you finally stop thinking like a visitor. The ship begins to feel less like a prison of wood and rope and more like a floating village. Every corner has a purpose, and every sailor knows exactly where he belongs. This morning, your job is to help inspect the supplies stored below deck. Lantern light flickers against wooden barrels stacked from floor to ceiling. Some hold fresh water, while others contain salted beef, dried peas, flour, and hardtack. Every barrel is carefully checked because spoiled food or leaking water could become a disaster long before the next port. You quickly learn that pirates cannot simply visit a store when supplies run low. Everything must last for weeks, sometimes months. A careless sailor who wastes food is not popular among the crew. The lower deck is dark and crowded. Rats dart between barrels, searching for crumbs. They are unwanted guests, yet almost every ship has them. Cats are sometimes welcomed aboard because they help keep the rat population under control. As the afternoon grows warmer, the smell below deck becomes stronger. The mixture of damp wood, salt, smoke, and old supplies fills the air. Most sailors barely notice anymore. After enough days at sea, even the strangest smells become familiar. Later, a sailor points toward a small island far in the distance. Nobody changes course. The captain has another destination in mind, and every mile matters. You simply watch the island slowly disappear behind the horizon. That evening, the sea is unusually calm. The ship glides across the water so smoothly that it almost feels as though it is floating through the sky. The crew speaks in quiet voices, careful not to disturb the peaceful night. As you settle into your hammock once again, you realize that the greatest challenge of pirate life is not always danger. Sometimes, it is learning to live with the endless rhythm of the sea, where every sunrise looks different, yet every day begins in much the same way. The sixth morning begins with a gentle breeze that barely fills the sails. The ship moves slowly across the calm Caribbean, leaving only a narrow trail behind. There is no hurry today. The wind decides your speed, and no sailor can argue with the wind. Your first task is to help repair a section of rope that has begun to fray. Every line aboard the ship is important. A single broken rope at the wrong moment could damage a sail or send heavy equipment crashing across the deck. The older sailors work carefully, showing you that patience is often more valuable than strength. As the hours pass, you begin to notice how every pirate carries a different story. One man once worked on a fishing boat along the English coast. Another sailed on a merchant ship before leaving after years of poor treatment. A third rarely speaks at all, spending most of his free time quietly watching the horizon. Despite their rough appearance, many pirates depend on teamwork more than fear. A ship cannot sail if the crew refuses to work together. Every sail raised, every anchor lowered, and every cannon moved requires many hands working as one. Near midday, dark clouds appear far away, but they drift in another direction. The captain glances at the sky for only a moment before returning to his work. Experienced sailors learn to read the weather long before the first raindrop falls. As evening arrives, the ocean reflects the colors of the setting sun like polished glass. The crew enjoys another quiet meal of hardtack and salted meat, knowing tomorrow's dinner will likely be much the same. When night falls, the lookout climbs into the crow's nest for the first watch. Below, the rest of the crew settles into silence. The sea rocks the ship gently beneath a sky filled with countless stars, carrying you peacefully into another calm night on the endless ocean. The seventh day at sea begins in complete silence. The wind has almost disappeared, and the sails hang loosely from the tall masts. Without a steady breeze, the ship drifts slowly across the glass-like water. Even the waves seem too tired to move. For pirates, a calm sea is not always good news. Without wind, there is little progress. The crew cannot chase merchant ships, escape naval vessels, or reach the next island on schedule. All they can do is wait. To pass the time, everyone finds a task. Some sailors sharpen their cutlasses with smooth stones. Others clean old muskets, carefully removing rust before it spreads. A pair of carpenters replace cracked wooden pegs along the railing, while another sailor carefully stitches a small tear in one of the sails. You are asked to help polish a brass compass. It is a simple job, but an important one. Navigation depends on reliable tools. Along with the stars and the sun, the compass helps guide the ship across thousands of miles of open water. Later, an experienced sailor tells you about the sea itself. He explains that the ocean is never truly empty. Beneath the surface swim whales, sharks, sea turtles, and countless fish. Most remain unseen, living their lives far below the wooden hull. As the afternoon fades, a gentle breeze finally returns. The sails slowly fill, the ropes tighten, and the ship begins moving once again. No one cheers. The crew simply returns to their duties, grateful that the journey can continue. After sunset, the moon rises over the quiet Caribbean, casting a silver path across the water. The gentle sound of waves brushing against the hull becomes the only music of the night. Lying in your hammock, you realize that pirate life is shaped not by constant action, but by long stretches of patience. The sea moves at its own pace, and every sailor must learn to move with it. The eighth morning arrives with stronger winds, and the ship feels alive once again. The sails stretch tightly overhead, catching every breath of air as the vessel glides across the Caribbean. The steady creaking of timber has become a familiar soundtrack, one that no longer keeps you awake at night. Today, you are trusted with a new responsibility. You join the sailors standing watch along the rail. Your task is simple: keep your eyes on the horizon. Hours pass with little to see except rolling waves, distant clouds, and the occasional seabird drifting above the water. Watching the sea sounds easy, but it requires patience. A tiny white shape far away could be nothing more than a cloud, or the sail of another ship. Experienced pirates learn to notice the smallest details long before anyone else. During the afternoon, the cook prepares another modest meal. There is no grand feast waiting below deck. Salted meat, dried peas, and hard biscuits remain the usual menu. Sometimes the crew catches fresh fish, and those rare meals are remembered long after they are gone. An older pirate quietly explains that food is more valuable than gold when you're far from land. A chest full of silver cannot satisfy an empty stomach. Fresh water, healthy sails, and a strong hull are often worth far more than treasure. As the sun begins to sink, someone finally spots a distant sail. The captain raises his spyglass, studying the tiny silhouette without speaking. No one rushes to battle. The crew waits calmly while he decides whether the unknown ship is a harmless merchant vessel, another pirate, or a dangerous warship. The distant ship slowly disappears behind the evening haze before the two vessels can meet. Life aboard returns to its peaceful rhythm. That night, you climb into your hammock with the gentle rocking of the sea beneath you. Somewhere beyond the dark horizon, countless other ships are sailing through the same quiet waters, each carrying its own stories, secrets, and dreams across the endless ocean. The ninth day begins with a light rain drifting across the sea. There is no shelter on the open deck, so the crew simply continues working as tiny drops soak their clothes. Before long, barrels are placed beneath canvas sheets to collect fresh rainwater. Every drop is welcomed, because clean water is one of the most valuable supplies on any voyage. When the rain passes, the air feels cooler and the sky becomes clear once again. Sunlight sparkles across the calm ocean, making it almost impossible to look toward the horizon without narrowing your eyes. Today, you spend time learning about the ship itself. Every section has a purpose. The bow cuts through the waves. The stern carries the ship's wheel. Below deck, heavy cargo keeps the vessel balanced. High above, the crow's nest gives the lookout the best view of the endless sea. The ship is more than wood and sails. It is a carefully built machine that depends on every sailor doing his part. If one sail tears or one mast breaks, the entire voyage can change in an instant. During the afternoon, the navigator quietly studies the sun and checks the compass. Long before modern technology, skilled sailors crossed oceans using little more than experience, careful observation, and the stars above them. The older pirates rarely raise their voices. They understand that panic solves nothing. Whether the sea is calm or rough, steady hands and clear thinking are always more valuable than fear. As evening approaches, a group of dolphins appears beside the ship once again. They leap gracefully through the waves, racing alongside the bow for several minutes before disappearing into the deep blue water. Even the toughest sailors pause to smile. Night falls gently over the Caribbean. Lanterns glow softly across the deck while the first stars appear overhead. Wrapped in the familiar rhythm of creaking wood and rolling waves, you close your eyes, knowing that another quiet day has passed on the endless sea, and tomorrow will bring another chapter in the slow life of a pirate. The 10th morning begins with a steady wind and clear skies. The sea is calm enough for easy sailing, yet every sailor remains busy. A pirate ship is never truly quiet. Somewhere, a rope is being tightened, a sail is being patched, or a wooden plank is being inspected for signs of wear. Today, you are asked to help clean one of the cannons. It is a slow and careful job. The metal must stay dry and free from rust, and every part is checked twice. Surprisingly, the cannon is treated with more care than many of the crew's personal belongings. When danger appears, everyone depends on it working perfectly. An older sailor notices your curiosity and smiles. He explains that pirates hoped they would never need to fire their weapons. A battle could damage the ship, destroy valuable cargo, and cost lives on both sides. Whenever possible, a pirate captain preferred to frighten another vessel into surrender rather than fight. As the afternoon passes, the crew practices loading the cannons without using real gunpowder. Each sailor knows exactly where to stand and what to do. The movements are calm, almost like a well-rehearsed dance repeated countless times before. Later, the captain gathers everyone on deck. He reminds the crew that discipline keeps the ship alive. Carelessness at sea is often more dangerous than any enemy. Loose ropes, forgotten tools, or wasted supplies can create problems when they are needed most. The sun slowly sinks below the horizon, painting the clouds with soft shades of gold and red. A warm breeze carries the scent of salt across the deck as seabirds disappear toward distant islands. When darkness arrives, the lanterns are lit one by one. The ocean becomes a quiet black mirror reflecting the stars above. You settle into your hammock, listening to the gentle creak of the wooden hull, realizing that another peaceful day has slipped away without treasure, without battle, and without glory, just the endless rhythm of life at sea. The 11th day begins before dawn. The sky is still dark as the lookout quietly scans the horizon from the crow's nest. The sea is calm, and only the gentle splash of water against the hull breaks the silence. Everyone speaks softly, as if they do not wish to disturb the peaceful morning. As the first light appears, the captain orders a change in course. There is no excitement, only quiet efficiency. Sailors pull on thick ropes, the sails shift with the wind, and the ship slowly turns toward a chain of distant islands. These islands are small, covered with thick green trees, and surrounded by bright blue water. They look peaceful, but experienced pirates know that hidden rocks and shallow reefs can destroy a ship in minutes. The navigator studies the coastline carefully while another sailor drops a weighted line to measure the depth of the water. You help secure loose barrels below deck. Every object must stay in place because even a gentle roll can send heavy cargo sliding across the floor. A simple accident could injure several sailors at once. By midday, the ship sails close enough to see white beaches and tall palm trees. No one goes ashore. The crew simply fills their eyes with the beautiful view before continuing their journey across the open sea. During the afternoon, a few seabirds circle above the mast. One sailor quietly remarks that birds often mean land is nearby. Small signs like these help sailors understand where they are long before they can clearly see the shoreline. As evening falls, the islands slowly disappear behind the ship. Once again, nothing surrounds you except the endless ocean. The stars begin to appear one by one, brighter than ever against the dark sky. You lie back in your hammock, feeling the gentle motion of the waves beneath you. The sea has become both your road and your home, carrying you farther from the world you once knew with every passing day. The 12th morning greets you with a thick blanket of fog. The horizon has disappeared completely, and the world seems to end only a few yards beyond the ship. The sea is unusually quiet, making every sound seem louder than before. The creaking of the mast, the flutter of the sails, and the gentle splash of water against the hull echo through the mist. The captain orders everyone to remain alert. In weather like this, another ship could appear without warning. The lookout strains his eyes, but even from the crow's nest he can see very little. Instead of relying on sight alone, the crew listens carefully for distant voices, ringing bells, or the groan of another wooden vessel. The ship moves forward at a slower pace. There is no reason to rush when hidden rocks or unseen reefs may be waiting ahead. Patience, once again, becomes the most valuable skill on board. As the morning passes, the fog slowly begins to lift. First, the sun appears as a pale glowing circle. Then patches of blue sky emerge overhead. Before long, the endless Caribbean stretches out before you once again, calm and inviting. The crew returns to their usual routine. Some repair fishing nets while others inspect the anchor chain for signs of rust. A sailor quietly carves a small wooden figure with his pocket knife, using the peaceful afternoon to pass the time. Moments like these remind you that even pirates enjoyed simple hobbies during long voyages. Late in the day, a sea turtle surfaces beside the ship, taking a slow breath before disappearing beneath the waves. No one says much. Everyone simply watches until it is gone, appreciating one more quiet gift from the ocean. As darkness falls, the sky clears completely. The stars shine brighter than ever, reflected perfectly on the still water below. The ship glides silently through the night, carried by a gentle breeze, while you drift towards sleep with the comforting rhythm of the endless sea. The 13th morning begins with a fresh breeze filling the sails. The ship moves faster than it has in days, slicing through the blue water with a steady rhythm. You have grown so accustomed to the sound of the sea that silence now feels far more unusual than the endless creaking of timber. Shortly after sunrise, the lookout suddenly calls from the crow's nest. A sail has appeared on the distant horizon. The crew does not panic. Instead, every pirate calmly turns toward the tiny white shape far away. The captain raises his spyglass and studies it for several long moments. No one speaks while he watches. On the open sea, patience is often wiser than haste. As the unknown ship slowly grows larger, the crew quietly prepares. The cannons are checked once more, though no powder is loaded. Muskets remain safely stored. Everyone hopes the stranger will simply continue on its own course. The captain finally lowers his spyglass and gives a small nod. The distant vessel is far away and sailing in another direction. There will be no chase today. A feeling of quiet relief spreads across the deck. Battles are dangerous for everyone involved. Even a victorious pirate ship could lose experienced sailors or suffer damage that might take weeks to repair. The afternoon returns to its peaceful routine. You help coil long ropes, polish brass fittings, and sweep away bits of broken wood left behind from earlier repairs. Above you, the sails snap gently in the wind, carrying the ship steadily across the Caribbean. As evening approaches, the distant vessel disappears beyond the horizon, becoming nothing more than a fading white dot against the sky. Soon, it is completely gone, leaving only open water in every direction. The sunset paints the sea with soft shades of gold, orange, and deep crimson. One by one, lanterns glow across the deck as the crew settles into another quiet night. You climb into your hammock, listening to the peaceful whisper of the waves beneath the wooden hull. Somewhere beyond the darkness, countless ships continue their own journeys, but tonight, your little pirate vessel sails on in calm waters, guided only by the wind and the stars above. The 13th morning begins with a fresh breeze filling the sails. The ship moves faster than it has in days, slicing through the blue water with a steady rhythm. You have grown so accustomed to the sound of the sea that silence now feels far more unusual than the endless creaking of timber. Shortly after sunrise, the lookout suddenly calls from the crow's nest. A sail has appeared on the distant horizon. The crew does not panic. Instead, every pirate calmly turns toward the tiny white shape far away. The captain raises his spyglass and studies it for several long moments. No one speaks while he watches. On the open sea, patience is often wiser than haste. As the unknown ship slowly grows larger, the crew quietly prepares. The cannons are checked once more, though no powder is loaded. Muskets remain safely stored. Everyone hopes the stranger will simply continue on its own course. The captain finally lowers his spyglass and gives a small nod. The distant vessel is far away and sailing in another direction. There will be no chase today. A feeling of quiet relief spreads across the deck. Battles are dangerous for everyone involved. Even a victorious pirate ship could lose experienced sailors or suffer damage that might take weeks to repair. The afternoon returns to its peaceful routine. You help coil long ropes, polish brass fittings, and sweep away bits of broken wood left behind from earlier repairs. Above you, the sails snap gently in the wind, carrying the ship steadily across the Caribbean. As evening approaches, the distant vessel disappears beyond the horizon, becoming nothing more than a fading white dot against the sky. Soon, it is completely gone, leaving only open water in every direction. The sunset paints the sea with soft shades of gold, orange, and deep crimson. One by one, lanterns glow across the deck as the crew settles into another quiet night. You climb into your hammock, listening to the peaceful whisper of the waves beneath the wooden hull. Somewhere beyond the darkness, countless ships continue their own journeys, but tonight, your little pirate vessel sails on in calm waters, guided only by the wind and the stars above. The 15th morning arrives with clear skies and a gentle breeze. The sea glows beneath the rising sun, and the ship moves smoothly across the water. After 2 weeks aboard, the routines no longer feel strange. You wake before being called, knowing exactly where your work will begin. Today, the cook allows the crew to enjoy a rare treat. During the night, several large fish were caught using simple hand lines. Breakfast includes fresh fish instead of salted meat, and for a little while, the mood aboard the ship grows lighter. Small comforts like this are remembered for days. After the meal, you help inspect the sails. Tiny tears have appeared along the edges after weeks of constant wind. They are repaired immediately because even a small rip can become a serious problem during strong weather. Every stitch helps keep the ship moving. The captain spends much of the afternoon studying a worn sea chart spread across a wooden table. Islands, reefs, and narrow channels are carefully marked. Although many pirates relied on experience more than maps, every piece of information could make the difference between a safe voyage and a shipwreck. As the ship sails onward, you notice how the color of the sea changes. In deep water, it is a rich dark blue. Near hidden sandbars, it becomes bright turquoise, revealing the shallow bottom below. Experienced sailors can often judge the depth simply by looking at the water. Later in the day, a gentle breeze carries the scent of distant land. No coastline is visible yet, but everyone knows an island cannot be far away. Seabirds begin to appear more often, gliding silently above the waves before disappearing toward the west. When evening comes, the ocean grows calm once again. The setting sun paints the sails with warm shades of gold, while the first stars slowly emerge in the fading light. You settle into your hammock with tired muscles and salt still clinging to your clothes. The ship rocks gently beneath you, carrying you through another peaceful night, where the greatest treasure is not gold, but the quiet certainty that tomorrow will bring another sunrise over the endless sea. The 16th morning begins with the sound of waves gently tapping against the hull. A cool breeze drifts across the deck, carrying the scent of the open sea. The sky is perfectly clear, promising another peaceful day of sailing. After breakfast, the captain gathers the crew. There is no shouting or angry speech. Instead, he calmly reminds everyone of the ship's rules. Pirate crews often followed a written code, and every sailor agreed to obey it before joining the voyage. These rules helped prevent arguments and kept order far from any court or government. One rule is simple: never steal from another member of the crew. Another requires every sailor to keep weapons clean and ready. Gambling for large amounts of money is discouraged, and unnecessary fighting is forbidden. Life aboard a crowded ship is difficult enough without creating new problems. You are surprised to learn that many pirate crews voted on important decisions. While the captain commanded the ship during battle, everyday matters were sometimes discussed by everyone. Compared with many merchant ships of the time, this gave ordinary sailors an unusual voice. The afternoon passes quietly. You help organize spare ropes and stack wooden barrels more securely below deck. Every task is completed with care because one loose object can become dangerous when rough seas arrive. Later, an older pirate shares stories from previous voyages. He speaks not about buried treasure, but about long weeks without seeing land, unexpected storms, and friendships formed in the middle of the endless ocean. His stories are slow and thoughtful, filled with lessons rather than excitement. As evening approaches, the wind softens. The sails flutter gently while the ship glides across calm water. A flock of seabirds crosses the glowing sky, disappearing toward the distant horizon. Night settles over the Caribbean once again. The lanterns burn quietly, the lookout begins his watch, and the crew drifts into peaceful sleep. Above the ship, countless stars shine across the dark sky, just as they have guided sailors for centuries. The 17th morning begins with a gentle mist floating above the sea. The world feels quiet and distant, as though the ocean itself is still asleep. The ship moves slowly through the pale gray light, and every sound seems softer than usual. After the morning meal, you are asked to help inspect the wooden hull. Tiny cracks and loose planks are carefully examined. Saltwater has a way of finding the smallest openings, and even a slow leak can become a serious problem during a long voyage. A few sailors lower a small boat into the water. They circle the ship, checking for damage below the waterline. It is careful work, requiring patience and steady hands. The captain watches from the deck without speaking, trusting the crew to know their duties. By midday, the sun burns away the mist, revealing an endless blue horizon. The sea is calm once again. Flying fish glide across the waves, their silver bodies sparkling for a moment before disappearing beneath the surface. The carpenter spends the afternoon replacing a worn wooden step near the mainmast. His tools are simple, a hammer, a saw, and a handful of wooden pegs, but his work is essential. A pirate ship depends as much on skilled craftsmen as it does on brave sailors. Later, you help roll spare sails into neat bundles and store them below deck. The canvas feels rough beneath your hands, carrying the scent of salt and sunshine. Everything is packed carefully, ready for the day when stronger winds demand fresh sails. As evening arrives, the sky fills with soft pink and orange clouds. The ocean reflects every color, making it seem as though the ship is sailing across a sea of light. For several quiet minutes, no one speaks. Even the busiest sailors stop to admire the peaceful view. When darkness finally settles over the Caribbean, the stars appear one by one. The gentle rocking of the ship has become familiar, almost comforting. Wrapped in the quiet rhythm of the sea, you close your eyes, knowing that tomorrow will be another slow and steady chapter in the endless life of a pirate. The 18th morning begins with a soft golden sunrise spreading across the Caribbean. The sea is almost perfectly still, reflecting the sky like a polished mirror. For a few quiet moments, it is difficult to tell where the ocean ends and the heavens begin. After breakfast, the ship settles into its familiar routine. Some sailors climb into the rigging to inspect the sails, while others scrub the deck with seawater. You are asked to help the ship's carpenter organize his tools. Every hammer, chisel, and wooden peg has its place, and nothing is allowed to go missing. As you work, the carpenter explains that a ship is always wearing out. The wind pulls at the sails, salt eats away at the ropes, and waves slowly weaken the wood. A pirate vessel is never truly finished. It is repaired a little every single day. By noon, the heat becomes intense. Most of the crew wraps cloth around their heads to keep the sun away. Drinking water is shared carefully, with each sailor receiving only a modest amount. No one knows how many more days remain before reaching fresh supplies. The afternoon is peaceful. A sea turtle drifts lazily beside the ship before disappearing into the clear blue water. High above, a pair of frigate birds circles on the warm air, barely moving their wings. They seem to float effortlessly while the ship continues its slow journey below. Later, one of the older pirates begins humming a quiet sea shanty. Soon, a few others join in, not loudly, but with calm voices that blend with the sound of the waves. The simple melody makes the endless ocean feel a little less lonely. As the sun sinks below the horizon, the breeze cools, and the sails fill once more. The ship glides peacefully into the coming night, leaving only a gentle trail across the darkening sea. You settle into your hammock, listening to the familiar creak of wood and the whisper of water against the hull. The rhythm has become so comforting that it is hard to imagine falling asleep anywhere else. The 19th morning begins with a fresh wind sweeping across the deck. The sails fill smoothly, and the ship leans ever so slightly as it gains speed. You have grown used to the movement now. What once made you lose your balance has become as natural as walking on solid ground. After the morning meal, the captain asks the crew to inspect every section of the ship. No detail is too small. A loose nail, a worn rope, or a cracked barrel could create trouble days later. Pirate life depends on careful preparation, even during the quietest voyages. You spend the morning checking lanterns and replacing old candles. After sunset, these small lights are the only source of brightness below deck. They must be handled carefully, for a single careless flame could start a fire aboard a wooden ship. Of all the dangers at sea, fire is among the most feared. As the afternoon passes, a gentle breeze carries the scent of distant rain, though the sky above remains bright. A few sailors quietly watch the clouds, predicting tomorrow's weather from their shape and color. Years at sea have taught them to trust nature more than luck. Later, the cook stirs a large iron pot over a small fire. Today's meal is simple, a thick stew made from dried peas, salted meat, and a few precious herbs saved from the last port. It is far from luxurious, yet after a long day of work, it tastes better than expected. The crew eats together in quiet conversation. Stories are exchanged about strange islands, unusual sea creatures, and peaceful harbors visited long ago. Whether every tale is true hardly matters. On long voyages, stories become another way to pass the endless hours. As darkness falls, the sea grows calm once again. The moon rises slowly, casting a silver glow across the water. The ship sails onward without hurry, guided by the steady wind and the familiar stars overhead. You close your eyes, feeling the gentle rocking of the waves beneath you. Another ordinary day has come to an end, proving once again that the true life of a pirate is shaped not by constant adventure, but by patience, routine, and the endless embrace of the sea. The 20th morning begins with a sky painted in soft shades of pink and gold. A cool breeze brushes across the deck as the first rays of sunlight stretch over the endless Caribbean. The sea is calm, and the ship moves with quiet confidence, as though it has sailed this route 100 times before. You are assigned to the morning watch. Standing near the bow, you scan the horizon with patient eyes. At first, there is nothing but water and sky. Then, in the distance, a small group of seabirds circles above the waves. An older sailor smiles and explains that birds often gather where fish are plentiful, and sometimes they are a sign that land is not far away. The crew lowers a few fishing lines into the water while the ship continues its slow journey. Before long, several fish are caught, their silver scales flashing in the sunlight. Fresh food is always welcome after weeks of eating salted meat and hard biscuits. As the afternoon grows warmer, the captain orders a short break from the heavier work. Some sailors sit in the shade of the sails, quietly repairing shirts and trousers that have been worn thin by salt, wind, and endless labor. Others carve small pieces of wood into simple toys, spoons, or lucky charms. These quiet moments remind you that life at sea is filled with ordinary routines, even among pirates. A gentle breeze continues through the afternoon, carrying the fresh scent of the ocean. Far below the surface, a dark shadow slowly passes beneath the ship. No one is certain whether it is a whale or a large shark. It disappears as quietly as it arrived, leaving only ripples behind. As evening approaches, the sea becomes smooth once again. The setting sun turns the sails golden, while the wooden deck glows with warm light. One by one, the crew finishes their tasks and settles into peaceful conversation. Night arrives without a sound. Above, countless stars sparkle across the clear sky, while below, the ocean reflects their light like a second heaven. The ship continues its endless voyage through the darkness, rocking gently from side to side, carrying you peacefully into another quiet night on the open sea. The 21st morning begins with a steady breeze and a sky so clear that the horizon seems perfectly sharp. After weeks at sea, you have learned that peaceful mornings are never taken for granted. The ocean can change its mood without warning. Just after sunrise, the lookout quietly points toward a faint shape in the distance. Through the captain's spyglass, it appears to be a small merchant ship sailing alone. It is far away, and no decision is made immediately. Instead, the captain continues to watch while the crew calmly goes about their work. You notice something surprising. No one rushes to load the cannons or draw their swords. Real pirates often relied on patience and careful judgment. Chasing every ship they saw would waste valuable time, energy, and supplies. As the hours pass, the merchant vessel slowly changes course, moving farther away until it becomes only a tiny white sail against the bright blue sky. The captain lowers his spyglass and quietly returns to studying the wind. There will be no pursuit today. The afternoon is filled with ordinary duties. You help mend a fishing net that has torn in several places. Another sailor oils the ship's wool to keep it turning smoothly. Nearby, the carpenter replaces a loose plank with practiced hands, working carefully without hurry. During a short rest, an older pirate tells you that the sea rewards those who are patient. The ocean is never in a rush, he says with a quiet smile. If you try to hurry it, the sea always wins. As sunset approaches, gentle waves sparkle beneath the fading light. A warm breeze fills the sails once more, carrying the ship steadily across the Caribbean. There are no cheers, no battles, and no treasure chests waiting on the horizon. When darkness settles over the water, the crew gathers for a simple evening meal before climbing into their hammocks. Above them, the stars shine as brightly as ever, while below, the endless sea whispers softly against the wooden hull, guiding the ship peacefully through another calm and unforgettable night. The 22nd morning begins with a light breeze and gentle waves rolling beneath the ship. The Caribbean is unusually quiet, and the only sounds are the creaking of the mast and the distant cries of seabirds. The crew wakes slowly, each sailor already knowing the rhythm of another ordinary day. After breakfast, the captain orders the anchor to be checked. Although it has not touched the seabed in many days, every link of the heavy iron chain is carefully inspected. Salt water never rests, and even the strongest metal can weaken if ignored for too long. You spend the morning helping clean the deck. Using buckets of seawater and stiff brushes, the crew scrubs away dirt and dried salt. It is tiring work, but a clean deck is safer to walk on, especially when the sea becomes rough. As the sun climbs higher, the heat grows stronger. The sails flap gently overhead, providing small patches of shade. A few sailors sit beneath them during a short break, quietly repairing worn boots and stitching torn sleeves. Nothing useful is thrown away. Every item is repaired until it can no longer be saved. In the afternoon, a school of dolphins appears beside the ship. They leap through the waves with effortless grace, racing the bow as if playing a friendly game. Even the captain pauses for a moment to watch them before returning to his duties. The peaceful visitors soon disappear into the deep blue sea, leaving only ripples behind. Their brief appearance reminds everyone that the ocean is full of life, even when it seems empty. As evening approaches, a warm orange glow spreads across the horizon. The wind remains steady, carrying the ship onward without effort. One by one, the crew finishes their tasks and quietly prepares for another night at sea. When darkness finally falls, the moon rises above the calm Caribbean, casting a silver path across the water. The lanterns are dimmed, the lookout begins his watch, and the rest of the crew settles into their hammocks. Surrounded by the endless whisper of the waves, the ship continues its slow journey through the peaceful night, carried by the wind and guided by the stars. The 23rd morning begins with a cool wind blowing from the east. Thin clouds drift lazily across the sky, while the ship glides over gentle waves. The sea feels endless, stretching in every direction without a single sign of land. Today's task is to care for the ropes. At first, they seem like ordinary lengths of hemp, but every sailor knows they are among the ship's most valuable tools. Some ropes raise the sails, others hold the mast steady, and a few control the heavy anchor. If even one important line snaps during rough weather, the entire crew could be in danger. You spend hours checking each rope for signs of wear. Frayed ends are trimmed away, weak sections are replaced, and fresh tar is rubbed into the fibers to protect them from salt water. It is slow work, but no one rushes. At sea, Careful work is always better than fast work. By midday, the breeze becomes warmer. The cook prepares another simple meal of salted beef, hardtack, and a small serving of dried beans. It is a familiar menu, yet no one complains. Hunger makes even the plainest food satisfying. Later in the afternoon, the navigator quietly studies the movement of the sun. Without modern instruments, experienced sailors depend on the sky, the sea, and years of practice to find their way across thousands of miles of open water. Every sunrise and sunset becomes another guide on the journey. As evening approaches, the wind softens, and the sails begin to flutter gently. The ocean reflects the fading colors of the sunset, turning shades of gold, pink, and deep blue. For a few peaceful moments, the ship seems to float through a painting. Night falls quietly. The stars appear one by one, filling the sky with countless points of light. Wrapped in the familiar sound of creaking wood and gentle waves, you climb into your hammock once again, letting the slow rhythm of the sea carry you into another restful night aboard the pirate ship. The 24th morning begins with a quiet drizzle that barely disturbs the sea. Tiny raindrops dance across the water, creating countless circles that vanish almost as quickly as they appear. The crew works without complaint, knowing that a little rain is simply another part of life on the ocean. After breakfast, the captain asks everyone to inspect their clothing and equipment. Boots are dried as well as possible, belts are repaired, and knives are cleaned to prevent rust. Out here, even the smallest tool deserves careful attention. Replacing something lost at sea is rarely easy. You notice that the pirates dress for practicality rather than style. Loose linen shirts help them stay cool beneath the tropical sun. Wide trousers allow them to climb the rigging with ease. Some wear simple hats to shield their faces, while others tie colorful bandanas around their heads to keep sweat out of their eyes. The grand feathered hats and shining coats often seen in stories are far less common than people imagine. As the rain fades, sunlight breaks through the clouds, warming the deck once again. The crew hangs damp clothes along the rail, letting the breeze do the rest. Within an hour, everything is dry enough to wear again. The afternoon passes peacefully. You help sort spare wooden pegs, nails, and sail needles into small boxes. These humble supplies may seem unimportant, yet they keep the ship sailing day after day. A pirate vessel survives not because of treasure, but because countless small repairs are made before serious problems appear. Toward evening, the clouds disappear completely, revealing a clear blue sky. The sea sparkles beneath the setting sun, and a gentle wind carries the ship steadily forward. No one speaks very much. After weeks together, silence has become as comfortable as conversation. As darkness settles over the Caribbean, the familiar lanterns glow softly across the deck. Above them, the stars return one by one, shining brightly over the endless ocean. You climb into your hammock, listening to the quiet whisper of the waves, grateful for another calm day carried gently by the sea. The 25th morning begins with a stronger swell rolling beneath the ship. The waves are not dangerous, but they lift the vessel high before gently lowering it again. By now, your body moves naturally with the motion. You hardly notice the rocking that once made every step uncertain. The day starts with an important chore. Fresh water barrels are opened and carefully inspected. One sailor measures the remaining supply while another checks for leaks. Every cup of water is counted. On a long voyage, wasting even a small amount could leave the crew in serious trouble before reaching the next safe harbor. You are given the task of cleaning several wooden buckets used to carry water around the ship. It is simple work, yet it reminds you that survival at sea depends on ordinary duties performed well every single day. By midday, the tropical sun grows hot again. The crew works more slowly, taking short breaks beneath the shade of the sails. A warm breeze carries the scent of salt and distant seaweed, while small flying fish glide across the waves before disappearing back into the water. An older sailor points toward the sky, where a group of white clouds drifts lazily overhead. He explains that experienced mariners often watched the clouds as carefully as they watched the sea. The weather could change within hours, and reading the sky was one of the most valuable skills a sailor could possess. As the afternoon fades, the cook prepares another modest meal. The crew gathers quietly, sharing food and stories from ports they once visited. Some remember lively marketplaces, while others speak fondly of peaceful beaches where fresh fruit was easy to find. Those memories seem far away now, surrounded by nothing but open water. When evening arrives, the wind becomes gentle once more. The sails fill softly, and the ship continues its steady course beneath a sky painted with fading shades of gold and violet. Night settles over the Caribbean with perfect calm. The stars appear in their familiar places, guiding the ship across the endless sea. Wrapped in the quiet rhythm of the waves and the comforting creak of old timber, you drift peacefully toward another night's sleep, carried onward by the patient ocean. The 26th morning begins with a strange stillness. The wind has weakened, and the ship moves slowly across the quiet water. The sails hang loosely above the deck, waiting for the breeze to return. For sailors, these silent moments are a reminder that the ocean always decides the pace of the journey. Without strong winds, the crew focuses on maintenance. Some sailors inspect the masts, carefully checking every wooden beam for cracks. Others repair small tears in the sails and strengthen worn ropes. A pirate ship may appear powerful from a distance, but every day at sea slowly leaves its mark. You spend part of the morning helping organize the storage area below deck. The narrow space is filled with supplies needed for survival: barrels of water, sacks of dried food, spare pieces of wood, and tools for repairs. Nothing is stored without purpose. Every item takes up valuable space and must earn its place. During the afternoon, the crew gathers near the side of the ship to catch a little fresh air. Some sailors tell stories about storms they survived years ago. Their voices remain calm, almost peaceful, as they describe towering waves and powerful winds. To them, storms are not just moments of fear, they are lessons learned from the sea. Later, a small breeze finally returns. The sails slowly rise, catching the wind little by little. The ship begins moving again, and the crew returns to their duties with quiet satisfaction. As sunset approaches, the ocean turns golden beneath the fading light. The ship leaves a gentle trail behind it, disappearing quickly into the endless water. That evening, you realize something important about pirate life. The greatest challenge was not always fighting enemies or searching for treasure. Often, it was simply enduring the long, quiet days when nothing happened at all. Under the moonlit sky, the ship continues its journey. The waves whisper against the wooden hull, the stars watch from above, and another peaceful night begins on the endless Caribbean Sea. The 27th morning begins with a brighter sky than the days before. The wind has returned, filling the sails and pushing the ship forward with steady strength. The crew moves with confidence now, each sailor knowing his responsibility without needing many instructions. After breakfast, you join a group of sailors checking the ship's weapons. Although battles are not an everyday part of pirate life, preparation is always necessary. Muskets are inspected, blades are cleaned, and supplies are counted carefully. A weapon that fails during a dangerous moment can mean the difference between survival and disaster. The older pirates explain that fear was often more powerful than actual fighting. Many ships surrendered after seeing a pirate flag or hearing a warning shot. A long battle could damage both vessels, so pirates often preferred a quick victory without unnecessary destruction. Later in the day, the lookout spots several birds flying in one direction. The crew watches carefully, wondering if land might be nearby. After weeks surrounded by nothing but ocean, even the smallest sign of a coastline brings excitement. The captain checks the charts and gives quiet orders. The ship changes course slightly, following the signs of nearby land. No one celebrates yet, because the sea can create illusions. A cloud can look like an island, and a distant shadow can disappear within moments. By afternoon, a faint shape appears on the horizon. This time, it does not vanish. Slowly, the outline of a tropical island becomes clearer. Green hills rise above the water, and the smell of fresh land begins to replace the endless scent of salt. The crew grows more energetic. After so many days at sea, the thought of stepping onto solid ground feels almost unbelievable. Fresh food, clean water, and a real bed are suddenly within reach. As evening arrives, the ship anchors a safe distance from the island. Lanterns glow across the deck while sailors prepare for tomorrow's arrival. You lie in your hammock listening to the waves, knowing that after many quiet days, the endless ocean has finally brought you somewhere new. The journey continues, but tonight the ship rests peacefully beneath the stars, waiting for the morning. The 28th morning begins with excitement spreading quietly across the ship. After many days surrounded only by waves and sky, the sight of land feels almost unreal. The island rises before you with tall green trees, rocky shores, and beaches untouched by the busy world you left behind. The captain gives careful instructions before anyone leaves the ship. Even a peaceful-looking island can hide dangers. Unknown waters may contain sharp reefs, strong currents, or unfamiliar people. Sailors learn that beautiful places must still be approached with caution. A small boat is lowered into the water, and a few crew members prepare to go ashore. You feel the difference immediately when your feet touch solid ground again. The movement of the ship has become so familiar that the land itself feels strange beneath you. The island offers things the crew has missed for weeks. Fresh fruit hangs from trees, clear streams provide clean water, and the air carries the scent of flowers and green forests. Simple things that were forgotten at sea suddenly feel like treasures. The sailors collect supplies carefully. They gather fresh food, fill water containers, and search for useful materials. Nobody takes more than necessary. A long voyage teaches people to respect resources. During the afternoon, some pirates repair parts of the ship while others rest beneath the shade of palm trees. A few enjoy walking along the beach, leaving footprints in the sand before the waves slowly erase them. For a short time, life feels peaceful and almost ordinary. There are no storms, no endless waves, and no constant movement beneath your feet. But every sailor knows that the ship is their true home, and soon the ocean will call them back. As the sun sets over the island, the crew gathers near the shore. The sky turns orange and purple, reflecting across the calm water. The wooden ship waits quietly nearby, ready for another journey. That night, you sleep differently. The ground does not move beneath you, and the sound of waves feels distant. Yet somehow, you find yourself missing the gentle rocking of the ship, the rhythm that has carried you through so many nights across the endless sea. The 29th morning begins with the sound of activity throughout the ship. After resting near the island, the crew prepares to return to the open sea. Fresh supplies are loaded carefully, ropes are checked, and every sailor makes sure nothing important has been forgotten. Before leaving, the captain gathers the crew one final time on the shore. He reminds everyone that the ocean does not forgive carelessness. A ship can be strong, but it depends on the people aboard it. Teamwork, discipline, and patience are what keep sailors alive. The small boats carry everyone back to the ship. As the island slowly disappears behind them, the crew returns to the familiar rhythm of ocean life. The smell of fresh land fades, replaced once again by saltwater and wooden decks. You notice that the ship feels different now. It is no longer an unfamiliar place. The ropes, the sails, the narrow spaces below deck, all of it has become part of your daily world. You understand the sounds of the ship and the movements of the waves. During the afternoon, the crew celebrates the successful resupply with a slightly better meal than usual. Fresh fruit is shared among everyone, and for a little while, laughter fills the deck. These small moments of happiness become important memories during long voyages. Later, the sailors return to their duties. The ocean does not wait for anyone, and the ship must continue moving. The navigator studies the stars that will guide the next part of the journey, while the captain watches the changing wind. As evening arrives, the island becomes nothing more than a dark shape on the horizon. The last traces of land disappear, leaving only endless water surrounding the ship once again. The night is peaceful. The moon shines above the mast, and the waves gently carry the vessel forward. Lying in your hammock, you realize that pirate life is not only about danger or adventure. It is about ordinary people sharing an extraordinary journey, finding moments of comfort in a world ruled by wind, water, and time. The 30th morning rises quietly over the Caribbean Sea. The first rays of sunlight appear above the horizon, touching the sails and wooden deck with a warm golden glow. The ship moves steadily forward, carried by a gentle wind that has guided countless sailors before you. Looking back, you realize how much has changed since your first day aboard. At the beginning, the endless ocean felt frightening. The unfamiliar sounds, the crowded sleeping quarters, and the hard work of daily life seemed impossible to understand. Now, the creaking of the ship feels familiar. The movement of the waves feels natural. The voices of the crew, once strangers, have become the sounds of companions sharing the same journey. The Golden Age of Piracy was not the constant adventure shown in stories and movies. Most pirate days were filled with waiting, repairing, preparing, and surviving. Behind every legend of treasure and battles was a much simpler reality, a group of people trying to live on one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Pirates faced hunger, storms, disease, and uncertainty. Many never found great riches. Some spent years searching for opportunities that never came. Yet they continued because the sea offered something many could not find on land, a feeling of freedom and independence. As the ship sails beneath the open sky, the crew continues their daily routine. Ropes are tightened, sails are adjusted, and the deck is cleaned. Another ordinary day begins, just like hundreds before it. But the story of these sailors remains unforgettable. Their lives became part of history because they represented a time when oceans were still mysterious, when maps were incomplete, and when adventure could be found beyond every horizon. The sun slowly rises higher, and the ship disappears into the endless blue sea. The life of a pirate was not only about treasure or battles. It was about courage, survival, friendship, and the quiet moments between the storms. And somewhere beneath the same stars that guided them centuries ago, the memory of the Golden Age of Piracy continues to sail on.